before the engine screamed and the grandstands trembled before champagne sprayed beneath floodlights, and history etched itself into record books, there was a quiet German boy standing on the edge of a karting circuit, helmet tucked under his arm, watching older drivers chase lap times that felt impossibly fast. The air smelled of fuel and rubber, the sound of engines echoing like distant thunder, and somewhere between the noise and the motion, Sebastian Vettel felt a certainty settle in his chest. This was where he belonged. His story would not be shaped by excess or spectacle, but by discipline, precision, and an almost stubborn devotion to improvement. Vettel's journey through Formula One would become a study in contrasts: explosive dominance followed by painful near misses, youthful joy tempered by hard-earned humility, records shattered in one era and lessons learned in the next. He would be celebrated as a prodigy, scrutinized as a champion, questioned as a veteran, and ultimately respected as a sportsman who never stopped caring about how he raced, why he raced, and what racing meant. This is not just a story of speed, but of values carried at 300 kilometers per hour. It is a story about preparation in silence, about victories earned through patience, and about a driver who believed that responsibility to the sport, to the team, and to the future mattered as much as winning. From small-town kart tracks to the summit of Formula One, Sebastian Vettel's life unfolded not as a straight line, but as a relentless pursuit of meaning in motion. Sebastian Vettel was born on July 3, 1987, in Heppenheim, a town in the German state of Hesse. He grew up in a modest household with parents who encouraged curiosity, discipline, and independence. His father, Norbert Vettel, worked as a carpenter and was a passionate amateur kart racer. His mother, Heike Vettel, supported the family while ensuring that education and balance remained priorities. Sebastian was the youngest of 3 children, raised in an environment where competition existed, but ego did not dominate. From an early age, he showed curiosity about machines, about how things worked, and about how small adjustments could produce different outcomes. His first exposure to motorsport came not through glamour, but through proximity. His father introduced him to karting at a young age, and by the time Sebastian was 3, he was already sitting in a kart. At 8, he began racing competitively. Unlike many young drivers who chase excitement, Vettel displayed an unusual calm. He listened carefully, absorbed feedback, and showed a capacity to repeat strong performances consistently. Coaches noticed that he rarely overdrove the kart. Instead, he focused on smoothness, corner exit, and conserving momentum, traits that would later define his Formula One driving style. Financially, the Vettel family did not operate with unlimited resources. Progress required commitment, planning, and external support. Sebastian's talent quickly attracted attention within the German karting scene. He won several regional titles and, in 2001, joined the Red Bull Junior Team, an opportunity that would shape the rest of his career. Red Bull's program focused on nurturing young talent with structured development, technical education, and mental training. Vettel thrived in this environment, not because it removed pressure, but because it demanded accountability. In 2003, Vettel stepped into single-seater racing, competing in the Formula BMW ADAC Championship. He adapted rapidly, winning his first race at the Lausitzring. By 2004, he dominated the series, claiming 18 victories from 20 races. That season marked a critical turning point. Vettel was no longer just promising, he was proven. His ability to manage tires, read race conditions, and execute strategy set him apart from his peers. The next steps came quickly. In 2005, he tested Formula One machinery for the first time, driving a Williams car during a test session. The jump in speed and complexity did not overwhelm him. Engineers noted his clarity of feedback and his methodical approach. Later that year, he competed in Formula 3 Euro Series and continued to progress within the Red Bull system. In 2006, Vettel raced in Formula Renault 3.5 and also served as BMW Sauber's test and reserve driver. His presence in the Formula One paddock increased, and his reputation grew quietly but steadily. He spent long hours in the simulator, attended technical briefings, and learned how a modern Formula One team functioned. He was not flashy, he was observant. His Formula One debut came at the 2007 United States Grand Prix, replacing the injured Robert Kubica at BMW Sauber. Vettel finished 8th, scoring a championship point and becoming, at the time, the youngest driver to do so. The performance was composed and professional. He made no unnecessary risks and executed the race as instructed. It was clear that he belonged. Shortly afterward, Vettel joined Scuderia Toro Rosso, Red Bull's junior Formula One team. The environment was less competitive, the expectations more developmental. But Vettel saw opportunity where others saw limitation. He focused on extracting maximum performance from the car, working closely with engineers, and learning how to lead a team despite his age. The defining moment arrived in 2008 at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. In wet conditions, Vettel delivered a performance that stunned the sport. He took pole position and controlled the race from start to finish, becoming the youngest race winner in Formula One history at that time. The victory was not just symbolic, it was decisive. Vettel didn't win through chaos or luck, he won through precision, consistency, and calm under pressure. Monza announced his arrival as a future champion. That win reshaped his career trajectory. At just 21 years old, Vettel was no longer a prospect. He was a leader in waiting. Red Bull Racing promoted him for the 2009 season, pairing him with Mark Webber. The team was ambitious, innovative, and determined to challenge the established order. Vettel embraced the challenge fully. In 2009, Vettel claimed his first victory with Red Bull in China, mastering difficult conditions once again. He finished the season second in the championship, narrowly missing the title but gaining invaluable experience. More importantly, he learned what it meant to fight at the front consistently, to manage expectations, pressure, and the emotional weight of near misses. As the season ended, it was clear that a new era was forming. Vettel had speed, discipline, and the trust of his team. What he did not yet have was a championship, but the foundation was set. The lessons learned in karting, the discipline forged in junior formulas, and the composure shown in breakthrough moments had all prepared him for what came next. And as Formula One turned toward a new decade, Sebastian Vettel stood at the threshold of greatness, not as the loudest voice in the room, but as the most prepared. The step from contender to champion is never guaranteed, and for Sebastian Vettel, it arrived not as a coronation but as a test of nerve. The 2010 Formula One season unfolded as one of the most competitive in the sport's history, with multiple drivers and teams trading victories deep into the year. Vettel began the season fast but inconsistent, suffering mechanical failures and strategic missteps that cost him valuable points. At times, his speed was unquestionable, but his results did not reflect it. Critics questioned whether he could convert raw talent into sustained success. Vettel responded not with words, but with focus. He refined his approach, heightened his execution, and committed fully to the process of extracting every possible point from every weekend. The championship battle came down to the final race in Abu Dhabi. Vettel entered the weekend trailing in the standings, needing not only a strong performance but also specific results from his rivals. Under immense pressure, he delivered one of the most controlled drives of his career, winning the race and, through a convergence of outcomes ahead of him, securing his first Formula One World Championship. At 23 years old, he became the youngest world champion in the sport's history at that time. The moment was understated yet profound, no excess celebration, just quiet relief and recognition that years of preparation had found their moment. What followed was not complacency, but an era of dominance built on refinement. From 2011 to 2013, Vettel and Red Bull Racing formed one of the most formidable partnerships Formula One had ever seen. The cars were fast, aerodynamically advanced, and perfectly suited to Vettel's precise driving style. But machinery alone does not explain the scale of success. Vettel elevated his consistency, reduced errors, and learned how to manage races from the front with clinical efficiency. The 2011 season was a masterclass. Vettel won 11 races, secured 15 pole positions, and clinched the championship with multiple races remaining. He demonstrated not only speed but authority, controlling weekends from start to finish. His radio messages revealed a driver deeply engaged with his engineers, focused on tire degradation, fuel management, and race evolution. By season's end, his second world title was undeniable. In 2012, the challenge intensified. The field tightened, and unpredictability defined the early races. Vettel experienced setbacks, including penalties and incidents that tested his composure. Yet, as the season progressed, he adapted. A critical moment came during the Brazilian Grand Prix, where early contact sent him to the back of the field. In treacherous conditions, Vettel fought through the pack, finishing sixth and securing his third consecutive world championship by the narrowest of margins. It was a performance rooted not in dominance, but resilience. The 2013 season became the peak of Vettel's Red Bull years. He won 13 races, including a record-tying 9 consecutive victories to close the season. His control over race pace, tire wear, and qualifying execution reached a level few had ever achieved. Each weekend followed a familiar pattern: pole position, clean getaway, measured pace, and unchallenged victory. Vettel claimed his fourth consecutive world championship, cementing his place among the sport's all-time greats. Yet even at the height of success, Vettel remained grounded in routine. He maintained meticulous preparation, physical training, and a disciplined lifestyle. He was known for remembering the names of mechanics, thanking team members personally, and maintaining traditions such as bowing to his car after victories. These gestures reflected not superstition, but respect for the machine, the team, and the process. As regulations changed and competition intensified, Red Bull's dominance faded. In 2014, Vettel struggled to adapt to the new hybrid era and was outperformed by his teammate. Recognizing the need for renewal, he made a defining career decision. At the end of the season, Vettel announced his departure from Red Bull Racing and signed with Ferrari, the most storied team in Formula One history. The move carried immense symbolism. Vettel had grown up idolizing Michael Schumacher, and now he would wear the same red overalls, carrying the hopes of a team and fanbase desperate for a return to championship glory. From the outset, Vettel embraced the responsibility. He immersed himself in Ferrari's culture, learned Italian, and forged strong relationships within the team. His impact was immediate. In 2015, Vettel won 3 races and finished third in the championship. The victories were emotional, particularly his first with Ferrari in Malaysia, where he stood atop the podium visibly moved. Ferrari was not yet a title-winning machine, but belief had returned. The following seasons brought both promise and heartbreak. In 2017 and 2018, Vettel mounted serious championship challenges against a dominant rival. He won races, led standings, and demonstrated flashes of his old authority, but errors, some his own, others circumstantial, proved costly. High-profile incidents, particularly under pressure, shifted momentum. Vettel absorbed criticism publicly and privately, acknowledging mistakes without deflection. Despite setbacks, his commitment never wavered. He continued to push Ferrari forward, often extracting more than the car seemed capable of delivering. But as the competitive landscape shifted, results declined. In 2020, his final season with Ferrari, victories were elusive. Vettel chose to approach the year with professionalism, supporting the team even as his departure loomed. In 2021, Vettel joined Aston Martin, seeking a fresh challenge and renewed purpose. The move was not driven by titles, but by the opportunity to contribute to a growing project. Vettel brought experience, leadership, and a collaborative mindset. On track, results were modest, but moments of excellence remained, including podium contention and strategic brilliance in changing conditions. Beyond racing, Vettel increasingly used his platform to advocate for environmental awareness, sustainability, and social responsibility. He spoke openly about climate change, diversity, and the future of motorsport. He acknowledged the contradictions inherent in racing and sought to engage in dialogue rather than denial. His actions included educational initiatives at race venues and public discussions aimed at inspiring responsibility without judgment. In 2022, Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement from Formula One. The decision was rooted in reflection on family, values, and the desire to invest time where it mattered most to him. He left the sport with 4 world championships, 53 race victories, and a reputation shaped not only by success, but by growth. After retiring, Vettel stepped away from full-time competition while remaining active in public life. He continued his environmental advocacy, participated in selected motorsport events in non-competitive roles, and focused on family life. His presence in Formula One became occasional but meaningful, defined by thoughtful commentary rather than constant visibility. Sebastian Vettel's legacy is not confined to numbers, though the numbers are extraordinary. It is found in the evolution of a driver who learned to balance ambition with accountability, intensity with empathy. He showed that winning matters, but how you win, how you lose, and how you use your voice afterward matters too. Because in the end, Greatness is not measured only by trophies, but by the willingness to reflect, to improve, and to stand for something beyond the finish line. Sebastian Vettel raced not just to be fast, but to be thoughtful. And in doing so, he left Formula One richer than he found it. If this story inspired you, if it reminded you that discipline, humility, and purpose can coexist with greatness, then support our journey here at Behind the Medal. Like the video, share it with those who love the deeper stories of sport, and subscribe to continue exploring the lives behind the victories. This video contains AI-generated images. They are used only for creative illustration and may not represent the athlete's exact appearance.